Friends, good morning. So, several things I have on my mind this morning. First, obviously, the Feast of St. Augustine, but secondly, just thinking all last night into this morning about what transpired yesterday in Minneapolis, that horrible, horrific tragedy at Annunciation School. The shooting, so far it's taken 2 lives of kids, and there's 17, I guess, who are hospitalized. And it's just, again, one of those experiences of why, oh God? Why, oh God? And so thinking about St. Augustine, it got me thinking about the other big A in our tradition, Aquinas. So if you read the Summa, Aquinas quotes Augustine more than any other church father, any other personage throughout the entirety of his Summa. So I know it's Augustine's feast day, but I want to share this thought from Aquinas, who was so much inspired by Augustine. But Aquinas wrote thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of pages of reflections on theology and God and the nature of man and salvation, all these things. And he wrote in the scholastic mode, which was posing a question, and then the question would have several objections to it, and then he would respond and answer each of the objections. So it was basically, think of like an actual debate setting, but on the page, right? It's kind of what it was. That's how the scholastic method worked. And for nearly every one of the questions that he poses, that he answers, he would have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 objections. But there's only one question that he asks at the very beginning of the Summa that really essentially only has one objection, right? The question is whether or not God exists. So Aquinas has the boldness to ask whether or not God even exists. And the objection that he gives is the presence of evil. He says there really is only one, in his estimation, there really is only one good argument against the supposed existence of an all-good, all-loving God. And he says it's the presence of evil and suffering. And that has been the thing that philosophers, theologians, men and women up and down the centuries of the church's history have wrestled with forever. How do we deal with the reality of tragedy? How do we deal with the reality of suffering? Like what we saw yesterday. How do you reconcile that with an all-good, all-loving God? And the only real answer to the problem of evil, the only way that there has ever been an answer to the problem of evil or suffering, has been in and through Christianity. Like only if God, who is all good, all loving, all innocent, if he actually did enter into the bowels and depths of God-forsakenness and hell itself and death and pain and sorrow and abandonment, like if everything that is perfect and beautiful and true entered into that, then that means that he's taken it to himself and he's turned it into something more. The cross is the only answer, the only adequate response to the problem of evil or suffering. It was Augustine who said at the beginning of his Confessions, his autobiography, the very first autobiography, "You have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts are restless until they rest in you." Why are our hearts restless? Because this fallen world isn't home. This place of evil and loss and tragedy and pain, this is not our final home. Our hearts are restless because our hearts are homesick. Our hearts are not in the habitat or the environment we're meant to be in. And because of that, there is so much loss and pain and tragedy, and people's minds and souls get twisted and broken in ways that lead them to shoot up a Catholic school in the middle of a Mass. Christianity is not a warm electric blanket. It's the cross. It's the undoing of death. It's the battle against the foe. It's the light into the deepest darkness. St. Augustine knew that. Aquinas knew that. I just would hope our prayer today would be to intercede for those families who are grieving, who are just bewildered with pain, that somehow the resurrection would break in. Somehow the Christ on the cross would be the explanation that they need, that they're not alone or abandoned in their pain. Amen.